Hello, everyone. This is Dorrani and Dom from VG247.com, and Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak is coming on June 30th. I'm pretty excited. Are you excited, Dom? And also, how are you?
All right, mate. I'm very good, thank you. And yeah, I'm pretty jazzed for Monster Hunter. I think I wrote on the site earlier this year that I've put like 100 hours into Rise or something stupid.
God damn.
Any more time in this game is great. And also from what we've seen so far, new monsters, new mechanics, new skills, new stuff to learn, new ways to get absolutely bodied by a Tigrex. Like, I'm more than happy.
More than happy. It's kind of mad how they just keep adding stuff. And do you know what it is Monster Hunter? I feel like the smallest things that they add extend the amount of gameplay that can be played, which is sick. So we're going to break down a few of the features that happened in yesterday's May showcase and in some of the previous showcases as well. So we know that we're going to like a new location. We're going to have new hubs, new vendors, new characters, new quests, all of that stuff, which is standard. You know, when Iceborne came out for Monster Hunter World, it was a similar situation. You kind of just, new area, let's get cracking. But the meaty stuff, the juicy stuff is what we want to be speaking about, right? And in yesterday's showcase, I'm just going to go straight from the top, right? We're getting new Silkbind skills for every single weapon, right? The Silkbind skills, when they were introduced in Monster Hunter Rise. Oh, man. It's the best feature, the best features, because it's just super anime. These over-the-top moves, they're really stylish. They're really fun to use. They look, when you hit like a Silkbind move and it kills the monster, oh, there's nothing more satisfying. There's nothing more satisfying. But we're getting new, I'm not sure if we're getting two for each, because the way they've written it, it's like moves and Silkbind skills, you know what I mean? So maybe we might get two, but one would be enough for me. I'll be excited for one extra.
So I think on top of that as well, we've got sorry if I'm going to jump into something you're going to talk about here, but you've got the Silk Evade stuff as well, the Switch Evade.
Yes, which is for the hot swap. That's the new feature, right? So you can now create loadouts essentially for your Silkbind attacks. So you can have two Silkbind attacks like you do now, but you can create another loadout and swap them on the fly. And oh man, in Monster Hunter, right, you already press so many buttons and have so much to think about. And now you're going to be able to do these like combos in like a fighting game fashion to extend your move sets even more, which is weird, right? Because these Silkbind attacks, they're not for free. They cost something. They cost your Silkbind gauge, and you have 2 to start, and you can get 3 from picking up Endemic Life. And I'm like, where are we gonna get all of these like resources to continue to like throw these combos, right? But it is really going into that fighting game territory now. Do you know what I thought of straight away? You know, Guilty Gear Strive, when you like Roman cancel into something. When you Roman cancel.
But I think Monster Hunter has felt like a fighting game for quite a long time now, because even in the different weapons that you can use, it feels like different characters and different movesets. And then the way that they work, you can zone, you can control an area, you can get up close and personal. You can't quite brawl, but you can definitely get like really close to a monster.
Yeah.
Even in terms of like having piercing and blunt different damage types to break off different components of your monsters. And so this kind of just takes that a little bit further. Like, I play Sword and Shield mostly, and I think from what I've seen, the evade stuff in there basically allows you to go from a defensive stance or a defensive playstyle into a much more aggressive one. And so just giving me that utility to really kind of like live the fantasy of that weapon a bit more. It's kind of just the quality of life. This is what I like about Monster Hunter. Even if you go back to different games, different parts of the series, every single progression, every single like expansion that they release, there's a different like quality of your life thing that comes in. Something that just makes everything a little bit better, a little bit tighter, and just makes the gameplay feel more and more fluid, right?
Yeah.
There's a Reddit account or an old Reddit thread, subreddit called Hitbox Porn. And it's basically like people dodging out the way, like, oh, I've got like one frame, down I go. Monster Hunter is just perfect for that, like ducking under a Rathalos swings and then slicing it off the last minute. There's no like power fantasy in games quite like that.
You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Back to go back to what I said, to complement what you said, that one thing changes everything, right? You know, when they introduced the Clutch Claw in Iceborne, it was like, okay, this is just a whole new game now. One thing, the whole game changes. You approach everything different. I think the Silkbind attacks are going to be great. I think it's going to be very fiddly. It's going to take people a long time to sort of understand and figure out what the meta is for each weapon. But I think it is going to have its limitations, because right now it's sounding OP, but as I said, casting Silkbind attacks is not for free. But there's something that I realized that they're adding that might make it seem a little OP, but I want to hear your thoughts on it, but we'll get to that part in a second. But yeah, very much fighting game style, being able to hot swap your Silkbind attacks. Also, we are getting AI companion follower quests. They are single player only, but the people who are in Elgato, the new area, they'll be able to come on quests with you, and those quests are going to have unique rewards. So they have an incentive to play. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, that to me sounds a bit like best comparison I got is in Destiny. If you do certain strikes, you get certain armor for that strike. So if you want that like dope Flayer helmet, you can go and do the Flayer quest and get that kind of thing, right? Mm-hmm. That's automatically, I like Fashion Hunter. I like play Monster Hunter for the fashion stuff.
Yep.
That's perfect for me. And also, I think, you and I, you play with Hammer and I play with Sword and Shield. If we team up and play something, that's great. We get to play with someone that knows that. But if these follower quests have got a certain weapon or something or a certain style that you don't often play with, it really shows you more of the game. For example, if I go out on a follower quest and this person's really good at Hunting Horn, it might for me to be like, oh wow, the Hunting Horn's great. Maybe I want to play Hunting Horn. Maybe I want to learn how to do all these like mad songs and like a little monster guitar.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. The Hunting Horn, by the way, is one of the most stylish weapons in the game. It just looks hilarious seeing someone just literally just vibing mid-fight. They're just there sending notes. It is hilarious. But the quests look really nice. I think it's like a technical limitation why you can't do it in multiplayer, but I think it's to maybe give people who have that sort of like anxiety to go into quests, like just random lobbies, because they might fear that they're not going to do well or they're going to cart the whole team and fail the quest. It's nice that people can still get that sense of cooperation. It's a bit like what Elden Ring does, when you can like just summon someone in and it gives you that false sense of multiplayer and feels like someone's with you. Looks good. Not just Palamutes and Palicos. Now you have an actual other person with you, which is good.
Not Palicos, not Palamutes, just pals.
Yeah, pretty much. So next we have Master Rank. Master Rank being G Rank-esque, which is essentially just a harder variant. It's a harder mode, essentially. It's a harder mode. And I think what would have made it boring is if they just had like more health, the monsters had more health. I don't think that would have been fun, you know what I mean? But the cool thing, they're getting new movesets, right? And you said yesterday how you don't like the sound of Tigrex being able to combo you down now because he can go into different moves. What do you think?
That's one health move. That's one bar of health in one move.
Yep.
I fought some nasty Tiggies in my time. And this one's going to be... I think I like it, though. Again, once you get to the end game of current high rank or whatever, it's good. Yeah. And the game gets hard and it's whatever. But even the base monsters, even some of the most innocuous ones you fight in the first few hours, they've got more capability. They can be hard as nails. Mm-hmm. So just adding another rank... Again, it's like Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate or back on the PSP days even, opening up these top ranks. That's where, for me, the game really comes into its own.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that you got to do it via an expansion. It's not in the base game and all this stuff. But by the same token, now that it's kind of a service game, Monster Hunter just keeps evolving and unfurling, adding more monsters, more different things. And to give us that option to go to the end game with a new location and some new monsters as well. I think it's a pretty good package, really.
It is.
These expansions are made for people that want to play the game hardcore style. So I think it's I'm happy with the way it's going around and how they've just renamed G Rank, really.
Yeah, essentially. It's just more content for people that love Monster Hunter, which is good. There is a load of new monsters coming, and I feel a little left out, right? Because I was watching the showcase yesterday, and as they were revealing these new monsters who are returning monsters, right?
Yeah.
But they are returning from a time when I didn't play Monster Hunter. I played Monster Hunter. I started Monster Hunter in World. You mentioned the PSP one a second ago. I played it on PSP, but I had no idea what this game was about, right? I remember I had a PlayStation, please don't kill me for this, but I had a jailbroken PSP, so I had all the games for free. And I was like, Monster Hunter, let me try this game. Played it, I had no clue what was going on, so I just completely ignored it. But all of these returning monsters, I'm seeing everyone in the chat getting like really excited, like, oh my god, this monster's coming back, and I'm like, yeah, it looks cool, man. I can't wait to fight it, but I've got no like previous knowledge. But there is, I think, like 8 new monsters that they've shown already, and then there's variants. So there's variants of like Almadron and like some of the camp and stuff like that. But the new flagship looks really cool. So we had Magnum Marlowe as a flagship for Monster Hunter Rise, the base game, and now we're getting Malzeno. Yeah, Malzeno with the
looks like a real badass. It looks like an Elden Ring monster. It looks like an Elden Ring dragon, right?
Yeah, it really does.
The big crimson wings and the kind of the golden red. It looks badass. Very, very
the vampire theme as well. The vampire theme, which also brings a brand new debuff called Blood Blight. So essentially how that works is if you get hit and the blight is on you, your health will just slowly decay. You can cleanse it, of course. I'm not sure how you would cleanse it. Maybe like an antidote, but
garlic.
Yeah, you cleanse it, or you have to attack to regain your health, right? And that reminds me of Bloodborne. A lot. So in Bloodborne, if you get hit, you have a chance to regain your health if you stay on the offensive, which is one of my favorite mechanics in video games, because it's like I don't want to have to heal every single time. You know what I mean? Sometimes I can still fight. I just got hit once, but I can still fight and I can regain my health for it. So risk versus reward.
Aggressive, like poison effects in games can suck for that. Yeah. But kind of take yourself out, especially in Monster Hunter where you've got to take yourself out of the thing and then go and cleanse and get rid of whatever.
Yeah.
Again, I think in Rise, generally, the whole gameplay kind of went a bit more not arcadey, it's not the right way of saying it, but like it simplified some stuff, and the Silkbind attacks did give you quite a lot of windows to soak up hits rather than dodge them. And I think this, by giving you the option to get rid of a blight by attacking them, being on the offensive, it really shows you what Capcom wanted to do in this game, which is be much more right in there. Even, going back to the Switch Evade, instead of getting out of combat, it lets you dodge roll through more stuff.
Yeah.
Wider windows to get through things. It seems like with this and with some of the attacks that we're seeing from the new monsters and the variants, it's going to be a really hardcore, high-intensity pitch battle, and they want you to stay right in the middle of it as much as possible and kind of just keep that adrenaline up. And I'm happy with that, because I like playing, let's say, Sword and Shield and being right in there all like shit. Anyway.
Brawling. But it looks really good, man. To summarize, we're getting more moves, and the enemies, the monsters, are getting more moves as well. So it's still equal playing field. It's just going to be a load of chaos, and I can't wait for it. But we're also getting more endemic life as well. I'll quickly fly through these. So there is these things called morphed wire bugs, right? So here's what I was going to say, why we might be able to cast more Silkbind attacks. So the shared effect, it becomes easier to initiate wyvern riding, and your wire bug gauge recovery speed is boosted. That's one of the endemic lives. So that's the shared effect. But you have a ruby wire bug bonus effect, where mounted punishers do more when you're wyvern riding, and then the gold wire bug, which wyvern riding attacks are more likely to cause monsters to drop materials, which is pretty cool. More endemic life, the marionette spider, which basically makes you Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. So you cast it, it like latches on, and then you can like redirect the monster. So, and if you redirect them into terrain, they'll go into their stun. They'll get stunned, which it looks so sick. It looks so sick in the gameplay. And then you have the starburst bug, which basically sets up this group of bugs into a landmine. It's pretty standard. It's like a barrel bomb basically, but endemic life that you can just pick up. We have the thorny toad, which uses its tongue to apply gas, and then it stuns the monster, which seems pretty cool. And there's more to come, but endemic life is something in Monster Hunter Rise where it's about like map knowledge. Before you even start hitting the monster, you can sprint around the map quickly, gather up all of these things, and then make the fight a lot easier for yourself. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It sounds like the endemic life is just starting to replace items. So if you don't come in with an item, or you haven't got access to an item, you can go and find some lizard on a rock somewhere and use that instead. Which again, quality of life stuff, you don't have to quit. Do what you want to do.
It is. And speaking of quality of life, there's 2 features we know, but they said that there's way more quality of life. But the 2 features that they are starting with is you no longer need wire dash to start a wall run. that was just super clunky. It's super clunky in the current game. It's just not intuitive at all. Now you're gonna be able to just wall run. All you have to do is just dash towards the wall. When they say dash, it means just start sprinting, and you'll be able to run up the wall normal. And do you know what it is? I think that's to help with that amount of wire bug management, because we're gonna be doing a lot more wire bug moves. So it's like using one to run up walls as well. It's like, no, that doesn't make sense. But the other one that is very important is, so when you're doing damage to a monster, monsters will go down for wyvern riding. And if you hit that monster, you'll start the wyvern ride, right? Sometimes you don't want a wyvern ride, especially like, say if you're in like a group, it's super like intrusive, the wyvern riding. Like you're stopping everyone from doing what they were doing, right? But now, wyvern riding, if you attack the monster when it's in that down state, it doesn't automatically trigger you going into a wyvern ride, which I think is just a godsend, because it's so intrusive, the wyvern riding. Sometimes it's fun when you're by yourself, but like if you've played multiplayer and someone else jumps on the monster, you're kind of just sitting back like, I see you having fun, man. I see you having fun over there riding that monster, but I'm over here just chilling, sharpening my weapon or something. You know what I mean? Like it's a bit boring. And so now you don't have to, you can still trigger it by pressing the actual command to go into wyvern riding, but if you're just hitting normally, it won't start it anymore.
I think you can kind of benefit a min-max there as well, right? Because if you know how long that stun period lasts, you can start, for example, bashing off the tail, and then before it goes off, hit the prompt to actually ride it, and you get bonus damage and the ride in there as well. So everyone's a winner except the monster. Which is weird though, right? Because I think people are going to weigh up the options. It's like, okay, even though it's intrusive doing a wyvern ride, does that do more damage than if we were all to just do damage? You know what I mean? If we just continue doing damage, is that going to do more, or is the wyvern ride going to do more? And also, do you want to kind of hit other monsters and get them to drop stuff? Do you want to bonk into walls to try and like break different parts of the monster? It adds more decision making on the fly, and it kind of complicates the Monster Hunter flowchart, which is always the thing. The more options is usually better, especially in games like that. So
yeah, absolutely, more options. But I can't wait to see players like, have you seen Team Darkside before? Team Darkside, who are these just elite Monster Hunter players. They like are just in sync. There'll be like 4 greatsword users, and they're all in sync doing the same moves for like 3 minutes and just tearing these monsters a new one. It is a spectacle to see. They are so good at the game. I can't wait to see them, like how they utilize stuff like that, because they are using every single like nuanced and niche trick in Monster Hunter to get the most damage. And when you see like coordinated Monster Hunter players playing, it is insane. So I want to see how that plays into it, and I can't wait to see the numbers as well, how they work out. But for now, that is all we really know about Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. And so it's coming out on June 30th. Pretty excited. That's gonna fill a big void in this very dry summer we're about to have for video games. But Monster Hunter is something that it breathes a lot of life. It just has so much to do, and it always feels fresh when a new expansion comes out, because even if you haven't played for a little while, all of your armor from the base game basically becomes redundant, right? You just get new armor instantly, so everything like doesn't matter. You just jump back in, get cracking again, and have fun. So I'm buzzing for it.
Yeah, me too. I think it's a nice little oasis in quite a barren year, and I think that's what Monster Hunter really shines at, when you've got time to really get your teeth into it. So good timing from Capcom, and I'm really pleased to see it's looking as good as it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. That has been Dorrani and Dom from VG247.com. What do you think of Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak? Are you excited for it? These monsters that are coming, what monsters are you excited for? And also, the most important question, what weapon do you main? And if it is anything that's not hammer, you are wrong. You are incorrect. But I hope you have a nice day. Peace out.